Today, we are out with this AMZcycle Easylife, and it is all about range. Short errands, longer loops, quiet roads, busy streets. And we want to see how far this 720 watt-hour battery takes us when we ride like ourselves. And for this test, we treat the Easylife like a daily commuter. That means pedal assist only, mostly lower and mid levels, and no trying to drain the battery on purpose. So, let's see how far it can go. Now, once we got on the bike and started moving, the first thing that stood out was how natural everything felt. This is a step-through frame, and that alone changes the experience. Getting on and off feels easy. Stopping at lights feels relaxed. The frame geometry puts us in a very upright position, close to a 90-degree posture. Our back stays straight. Our shoulders stay loose and hands rest naturally on that carbon fiber handlebar. That posture matters more than people think. When you sit comfortably, you pedal longer. When you pedal longer, the motor works less. And that directly helps range. Now let's talk about the motor. And this bike uses a 350 watt mid-drive motor, with peak output around 670 watts and torque close to 45 Newton meters. On the road, it feels calm and controlled. Power comes in smoothly. There is no sudden push. There is no surprise surge. It feels like the bike listens to our legs and responds in sync. At stoplights, we push off gently and the motor fills the gap. On flat roads, we settle into a steady rhythm around 15 to 18 miles per hour without thinking about it. On small hills, the assist increases quietly and keeps us moving without drama. This motor does not try to impress with force. It focuses on efficiency. And that is exactly what we want for long rides. And because this is a mid-drive setup, the motor works directly through the drivetrain, which is where things start to feel really natural. AMZcycle pairs it with Shimano's 1x9 U4000 system, and honestly, this combo just makes sense. Shifts feel clean and predictable, so we are not thinking about gears all the time. In city riding, that matters. The 42 tooth chainring up front and the 11 to 41 cassette in the back give us enough range to deal with stop-and-go traffic, gentle climbs, and open stretches without stress. When the road tilts up, we tap down a gear and keep our cadence steady. When it opens back up, we shift up and just cruise along. Nothing feels rushed, and nothing feels forced. That smooth shifting keeps the motor in a comfortable zone, which helps efficiency over long rides. At the same time, it saves our legs, so we can stay relaxed and keep going without feeling worn out. Now let's talk about the battery, because, well, this is really what we are here to test. So this bike runs a 48-volt, 720 watt-hour battery with Samsung 21700 cells, and it also comes with UL 2271 certification. On paper, that tells us it should be stable and consistent, not something that drains fast. We started the ride at a full charge. The display showed 100%, and the weather was normal. Nothing extreme. Talking about the route, it was a mix of bike paths, neighborhood streets, and a few longer stretches where we just held a steady pace. After about 10 miles, we glanced down at the display, and honestly, it barely moved. The bike felt exactly the same as when we started. The motor stayed quiet, and the assist felt unchanged. Then, around 20 miles in, we checked again. Still strong. No drop in response at all. And at that point, we stopped thinking about the battery and just kept riding. Because it was clear the bike was using its power in a very controlled way. By the time we crossed 30 miles, we started to notice something important. The ride still felt relaxed. No stiffness. No feeling like we needed a break. And this is where comfort quietly starts helping range, because when we feel good, we just keep riding. So a big part of that comes from the suspension seat post. The KS post has 125 millimeters of travel, and on the road, it really takes the edge off. Small cracks almost disappear, and rough pavement feels much softer under us. Pair that with the VeloGel saddle, and our hips and lower back stay comfortable way longer than we expected. Then there are the tires. The Schwalbe Marathon tires play a bigger role than we first thought. At 27.5 by 2.15 inches, they roll smoothly, but they still feel secure. The puncture protection gives peace of mind, especially in city riding, and the reflective strip adds visibility without screaming for attention. All of this together just helps us stay relaxed and keep going. Now, around the 40-mile mark, we started keeping a closer eye on the battery. At this point, the assist still felt steady. No hesitation, no weird behavior. We stayed mostly in the lower and mid-assist levels, and our average speed hovered around the mid-teens. Pedaling still felt easy, which was nice. Then, once we passed 50 miles, we could feel that we were really deep into the ride. Not because the bike was struggling, but because our legs started reminding us that we had been pedaling for a while. And that actually says a lot. The bike never pushed us to stop. It just kept going. It was our own body that said, "Okay, time for a break." By the time we hit around 60 miles, the battery indicator was showing we were getting into the lower portion of the charge. Well, the motor was still helping, but you could feel it being a bit more careful. Power delivery stayed smooth, just slightly more reserved. And honestly, that's exactly the kind of behavior you want when you're near the end of a long ride. Based on this ride, a realistic range for the Easylife seems to sit comfortably between 60 and 70 miles for most riders. If you stick to lighter assist and flatter routes, pushing closer to 75 miles feels possible. But with hills, wind, or heavier loads, 60 miles still feels safe and dependable. And the best part, that matches exactly how this bike is built. Balanced, steady, and designed to keep you going without surprises. Now let's talk about control and confidence, because, well, all the range in the world doesn't matter if the ride feels stressful. The Tektro hydraulic brakes, paired with 160mm rotors, feel steady and reliable. You pull the lever, and the slowing is smooth, consistent. So yeah, in traffic, that predictability matters. And over longer rides, it actually takes a load off your hands because you're not constantly fighting the brakes. Beside that, the dropper seat post is a small thing that makes a big difference. At intersections or stoplights, we drop the saddle, set our feet down, and the bike feels planted. Pulling away is just as easy. Stops don't feel tense. Little things like this really add up, especially when you're riding around the city all day. And honestly, between the brakes and the dropper, the bike just feels like it's thinking along with you. You ride, it responds, and everything feels calm. No surprises. The frame itself deserves a mention too, and it's built from AL6061 aluminum, and you can feel the solidity right away. At about 57 pounds, it doesn't feel heavy. It feels planted and stable, which helps when you're rolling over different surfaces. The fully internal cable routing not only cleans up the look, but also keeps the cables protected from dirt and bumps. And the carbon fiber handlebar? It smooths out road vibrations and keeps the front end looking neat. Then there are the practical touches. The front and rear racks feel solid, so carrying bags doesn't throw off the balance. The splash-proof fenders actually work, keeping you clean on wet roads. All these small details really turn the long-range potential of this bike into something you can use every day without thinking twice. So, after a few days on it and one long ride, how does the Easylife feel? It feels calm, dependable, and made for people who want to ride often, comfortably, and far without stressing about numbers. The motor supports rather than dominates. The battery delivers steady endurance. The comfort features keep us feeling good over distance. Nothing is flashy. Everything just works together. This isn't a bike built for speed. It's a bike that invites you to keep moving. And when 60 miles feels normal, that says a lot. That's our time with the AMZcycle Easylife, our range test and experience. Let us know how you'd ride it. Thanks for watching. If you found it helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more bike reviews.